Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're journeying to Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia. Really captivating city. We've gathered, well, a whole bunch of traveler experiences, expert thoughts, basically a curated list of like 12 must-do things.
Yeah, a good cross-section.
Exactly. To try and figure out what makes Tbilisi tick, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Give you a real sense of its appeal. Maybe you're planning a trip, maybe you're just curious.
Right.
We'll touch on history, culture, modern stuff, even some practical pointers along the way.
Consider it your fast track to understanding Tbilisi's, let's say, essence. We're not just listing sites.
No.
We want to explore what these things tell you about the city itself.
Okay, let's get into it. Maybe start with the big landmarks, the ones with those amazing views everyone talks about.
Good place to start. Narikala Fortress is probably top of that list.
Right, the ancient one overlooking the city. It's seen a lot, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, its origins go way back like 4th century.
Yeah,
But what you mostly see now, that's largely 8th century Arab construction.
Oh.
It was a Persian citadel, had a palace inside. Really speaks to Tbilisi's position historically as this crossroads, different powers leaving their mark.
Makes sense. And now it's the most visited spot.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see why.
The views, I assume.
Totally. The panoramic views are just, wow. Plus, it's open 24/7, free entry.
Oh, wow. 24/7.
Yeah, so going up for sunset, like the source suggests, is a really popular thing to do.
I bet. What is it about that evening light, do you think? Based on what people say, how does it change the city from up there?
Well, it seems to just bathe everything in this. That golden light softens the edges between the old buildings and the new ones. And you really appreciate the geography, Tbilisi, nestled in those hills. It frames the city beautifully.
Nice.
And don't forget the Church of St. Nicholas inside the fortress. It was rebuilt fairly recently in 1990. Shows the importance of faith still.
Right. Good point. And speaking of iconic figures watching over the city, Mother of Georgia. Cartless today.
Yes.
That huge aluminum statue. Quite something.
It really is. 65 feet tall.
Yeah.
Put up in 1958. And the symbolism is pretty powerful.
How so?
Well, she holds a bowl of wine in one hand. That's for Georgia's famous hospitality, welcoming friends.
Uh-huh.
And a sword in the other for enemies. It represents that, strength and resilience alongside the welcome.
Yeah.
Georgia's had to fight for its independence a lot over the centuries.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hospitality and defense.
Exactly.
And it's up on Sololaki Hill, so more great views from there too, I guess. Not just of the statue itself.
Oh, definitely. Our sources really highlight the photo opportunities. The view looking sort of north over the old town and the river, that's considered the classic Tbilisi vista by many.
Okay, got it. Classic view from Cartless data. All right, let's shift from these historical symbols to something much more modern. The Bridge of Peace.
Ah, yes. Quite a contrast.
It really looks it. That sleek, glassy design.
Yeah, opened in 2010, designed by an Italian architect, Michele Delucci. It's this bow-shaped thing made of glass and steel.
And it deliberately connects Reich Park and the Old Town.
That's the idea. Physically linking the new recreational space with the historic core. It's like a symbol of Tbilisi looking forward, but staying connected to its roots.
Interesting. It's pretty big, too, isn't it? Almost 500 feet long.
Yeah, and that glazed roof is huge. The advice is definitely to walk across it. You really get a feel for the design that way.
Does walking it give you any other, perspective on the city's layout?
I think so. You see the Mitkavari River as this, central spine of the city, connecting different bits.
Right.
And you really sense how close Reich Park is to the old town. Plus, at night.
The lights. Yeah. Sources mention thousands of LEDs.
It turns into this whole dynamic light show. Pretty cool.
Okay. And if you want those high-up views without the climb, there's the cable car?
The Tbilisi cable car, yeah. That's another must-do for the views.
Takes you from Reich Park up to Narikala Fortress.
Exactly. It's a short ride, maybe 5 minutes, but you see so much. The river, the mix of old and new buildings down below.
It's like a little visual summary of the city.
Pretty much. You could spot key landmarks, too, like Mother of Georgia, Meteki Church, even the Bridge of Peace you just crossed.
All in 5 minutes. And it's cheap, too, like under $1.
Yeah, about 2.5 GEL, so less than a US dollar for one way. It's a bargain for that kind of overview.
Definitely. It's a good way to get your bearings before you even hit the fortress.
For sure. Like a visual appetizer.
Now, you mentioned the Old Town. We can't talk Tbilisi without diving into that, right? The historic heart.
Absolutely not. That's where you really feel the history.
Yeah.
Goes back to the 5th century.
Wow.
It's all winding, cobblestone streets, traditional houses. It feels ancient. And remember, the Old Town isn't just one small area. It includes districts like Kala, Sololaki, and Abano-Tubani, the Bath District.
Right, the sulfur baths. We'll get to those.
Yeah.
So the advice is just to wander, get lost.
That's honestly the best way. Just let yourself explore. You'll stumble across these amazing old houses, the ones with the wooden balconies.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of those.
Yeah.
Very distinctive.
And the stone-domed sulfur baths, hidden courtyards.
Yeah.
That's how you find the real character.
Sounds perfect. But if you prefer a bit more structure...
There are guided walking tours. Our source mentions a 3-hour one that takes you to places like Sioni and Mateki churches. They're from the 13th century, so you get that historical context too.
Good option to have. Okay, changing pace a bit. Let's talk shopping, or maybe treasure hunting. The Drybridge Market.
Ah, the flea market. Yeah, that sounds fascinating.
It does. Open-air market near Didina Park. Place for unique souvenirs. What's its story?
Well, it popped up in the 90s. Tough times after the Soviet Union collapsed.
Right.
People needed a place to sell stuff, make ends meet. So it started out of necessity, really.
And it's still going strong. What does that say about the city, you think?
I think it shows resilience, that entrepreneurial spirit. It's a direct link to that recent, very transformative period in Georgia's history. Still feels authentic.
So you can find all sorts of things. Handmade stuff, antiques.
Yeah, jewelry, art, old Soviet pins and medals, handicrafts, you name it. You could probably spend hours just looking. Maybe practice your haggling skills.
Ah, maybe. Sounds like a great place to find something truly unique.
Definitely. And it's more than just shopping. It's like a social hub, too. Chat with the vendors, hear some stories.
Cool. Okay, need a break from the bustling market or the old town streets? There's Reich Park.
Yep, right next to the Bridge of Peace. Nice bit of green space in the middle of everything.
Walking paths, fountains, gardens. Sounds like a good spot to just, relax.
Totally. Take a stroll, chill out. It's right on the Tbilisi River, so you get nice views along the water.
The sources mentioned some unique attractions there, too. Something about unfinished metal tubes.
Ah, yes. The infamous concert hall and exhibition center designed by Massimiliano Fuchsas. It was never finished.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got these giant, futuristic-looking metallic tubes just sitting there.
Right. Intriguing or an eyesore, depending on who you ask, I guess.
Pretty much sums it up. But aside from that, the park itself is lovely. Offers a different perspective, being down at river level. More intimate view of the waterfront.
Okay, makes sense. Now, we absolutely have to talk about the sulfur baths. Abano-Tubani district, Karelia Abano, is mentioned specifically.
Yes. You can't go to Tbilisi and not hear about the baths. They're fundamental to the city's identity.
Why is that? What's the origin?
Legend says the hot springs are the reason the city was founded here in the first place. Back in the 5th century, King Vakhtang Gorgasali discovered them.
Ah, okay. So the city literally grew up around the springs.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the waters, they're naturally hot and full of minerals, sulfur mainly. People have always believed they have healing properties.
So they're for health and, socializing, too.
Exactly. They've always been community hubs. Karelia Abano is a great example. Dates back to the 17th century, apparently. Beautiful traditional architecture.
Yeah, the source mentioned a mosaic entrance, those stone domes. Sounds amazing.
It looks incredible. And inside, you've got options. Private rooms, group rooms, even fancy VIP ones. Plus saunas, pools.
And spa treatments, chocolate massage, candle massage.
Yeah, blending the ancient tradition with some modern spa luxury. So you can go for the classic communal soak or a full-on pampering session. It's quite an experience.
Definitely sounds like it. Okay, quick shift for the sports fans out there. FC Dinamo Tbilisi.
Right, the big local football team. Hugely successful in Georgia.
19 league titles, the source says. So catching a game could be exciting. What's the vibe like?
Ooh, Georgians are passionate about their football.
Yeah.
So yeah, a home game at the Boris Pachadze Dynamo Arena, which is massive, by the way, holds over 50,000 people, could be really electric.
Wow, that's a big stadium.
Yeah. You definitely get a taste of local passion. Intense atmosphere.
Good to know. Tickets are fairly easy to get, website or at the ground.
Yeah, it's a cool way to connect with locals over something they really care about.
Okay. What about if you're traveling with kids? Or just feel like splashing around? Gino Aqua Park comes up.
Yeah, sounds like a proper big water park. 32 acres. Lots of slides, pools.
The usual water park stuff. Wave pool, lazy river, or wild river.
Wild river, yeah. And apparently it has the tallest water slide in Eastern Europe.
Whoa! How tall?
102 feet.
Yikes. Okay, so maybe not just for kids then.
Definitely appeals to adults, too. There's a wellness center bed, relaxation pools, even a pool with a bar.
Nice. And free entry for little ones under 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty appealing for families. A good way to beat the heat and have some fun.
For sure. Another family-friendly spot mentioned is Tbilisi Zoo.
Right, the oldest and largest in Georgia, founded way back in 1927.
Covers 300 acres. That's pretty big for a city zoo.
It is. And it has over 1,500 animals, more than 200 species, including endangered ones like Siberian tigers, white lions.
Does it play a role in conservation then?
Well, as a longstanding zoo housing endangered species, it certainly contributes to awareness, and they offer educational tours, which helps promote respect for wildlife.
And again, really affordable entry fees, like just over $1 for adults.
Yeah, very accessible. Good option for a few hours, especially with kids.
Okay, last one on our list, but definitely not least. For anyone wanting to dig deeper into Georgian history and culture, the Georgian National Museum.
Yeah, that sounds essential. The collection is huge, over 2.5 million objects.
Wow. That's a lot. Where do you even start? What are the highlights?
Well, the sources point to the natural history exhibit, fossils, minerals, ancient tools, and the archaeology exhibit sounds amazing. Artifacts, statues, weapons from ancient times.
Okay.
But there's loads more. Exhibits on Georgian drawing, cinema, photography, even traditional embroidery. It really covers the breadth of Georgian culture and history.
Sounds like you could easily lose a whole day in there.
Absolutely. It's probably the key place to get that deep understanding of the country's past. And good to know the opening times and costs for planning.
Yeah, Tuesday to Sunday, 10 till 6. And our source even threw in some hotel suggestions across different budgets, which is handy.
Always useful practical tips.
So wrapping this up then, it really feels like Tbilisi packs a lot in, doesn't it?
It really does. This deep dive definitely highlights that blend.
They've got the ancient history, the fortress, the old town.
Mm-hmm. Then the modern stuff, like the Bridge of Peace.
The cultural experiences, like the market, the baths.
The parks, the zoo, the museum. There's just a ton of variety.
And it seems pretty accessible, too. A lot to see and do for different interests and budgets.
I agree. It's this fascinating mix of centuries of history right alongside this vibrant modern energy. Creates a really unique atmosphere.
Which kind of leads to a final thought, doesn't it? Like, what does all that history, all those layers of culture actually mean for Tbilisi today?
Right. How does it shape its identity now?
And if you're visiting, how do you go beyond just, ticking off the sites on this list? How do you actually connect with that deeper spirit of the place?
Yeah, that's something to think about, how to really tap into what makes Tbilisi, well, Tbilisi.
Exactly. Something for you to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.